What's up everybody, Matty Mo here, and today we're revisiting the Nexus 6. It's been about 7 months since its initial release, and we're going to go over things such as what's changed, how has the device aged, and is it still worth the purchase today? The Nexus 6 is Google's latest Android device that offers a full stock experience with updates coming directly from Google. Last year, Motorola took a turn at the design and basically made the Nexus 6 a bigger version of the Moto X with top-of-the-line specs at the time. Now, I'm not going to list all the specs as this device has been out for quite some time, but I have included them in the description down below for your reference. I always forget how big this phone really is until I pick it up again. It's like this phone was made to beat up other phones. And if you ever want to get used to a 5 to 5.5 inch phone, just pick this phone up, play with it for a couple of days, and anything below 5.5 inches will feel small again. So here's what I loved about the Nexus 6 when it was first released in October of last year. I love the design. Even though it's the same as the Moto X, the metal edges and curved back give the phone a sleek look that feels comfortable in the hand. The phone is big and does feel a little top heavy, so it's important to use this device with both hands. I recommend to never one-hand this device as you are increasing the likelihood of dropping this phone. This is a Google phone, so that means it's running nothing but stock Android. And since this was the first phone to run Android Lollipop, the Nexus 6 does a fantastic job showing off material design in all its glory. The big 5.96-inch screen is beautiful to look at, and it's the first Nexus device to have a QHD display. The screen is not the best panel of 2014. The Galaxy Note 4 does have more accurate colors and better viewing angles, but needless to say, the panel on the Nexus 6 is still quite good. Next up is the speakers. Unlike the Moto X, the Nexus 6 has dual front-facing stereo speakers. They are quite good, not HTC boom sound good, but overall you'll be satisfied with the sound quality. And finally, the fact that it will receive all feature updates directly from Google is a big win in my books. Being able to get the latest updates without depending on OEMs is a great feeling. I also like the fact that you never have to worry about your phone being slowed down due to manufacturers customizing the experience with heavy themes. Now with that being said, here's what I didn't like about the phone and whether or not these issues have been addressed. First up was the battery life. With a 3220 mAh battery, you'd expect this phone to last you at least a day and a half to 2 days. But upon its initial release, I was ending the day with 10 to 15% battery life. Longer battery life is one of the main reasons people buy bigger phones. But the good news is the battery life has gotten much better ever since the Nexus 6 has been updated to Android 5.1. I'm now getting 3 hours of on-screen time with around 40 to 50% battery life left. I used the device heavily throughout the day, and since the size was large enough, my tablet was left in the dust. However, there are some reports circulating the internet that the battery tends to get a little hot, and when this happens, the battery would expand and then completely push off the Nexus 6 back cover. Now, the battery didn't really get that hot with me, nor did I experience this issue, but I would like to know if you did, and if you did, please let me know in the comments below as I'm quite curious. Next up was the performance. I always felt this device was pretty smooth, but when I first used the device after its initial release, I found that it would randomly stutter transitioning between screens and opening up apps. It did happen infrequently and the overall experience was still quite pleasant, but for a stock Android phone, it should be perfect. However, I am happy to say that now that it's running Android 5.1, these stutters and app crashes have been eliminated and the device even feels more fluid than it did before. And finally, my last complaint is the camera. It's not a bad camera, but it's definitely not a great camera. It's the same camera you get in the Moto X. I found it to be poor in low light and the exposure was inconsistent depending what you tapped on the screen. However, for daily use and social media lovers, you will be quite pleased. But for those of you who are picky and want the best pictures on a smartphone, the Nexus 6 won't deliver. The bottom line is the Nexus 6 has been much improved with a few simple software updates. You're no longer getting those frustrated issues that users initially had when they first purchased the device back in October of 2014. All those bugs have been completely eliminated. You're now getting a super smooth, fast, and fluid phone, which is what you'd expect running stock Android. So is this phone worth the purchase? That really depends on whether you like big phones and if you must have the latest and greatest updates directly from Google as soon as they come out. If you do, then the Nexus 6 is probably your best and only option. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below about the Nexus 6. Is it still worth the purchase? And for those of you that have a Nexus 6 right now, Please let me know what you like and dislike about your smartphone. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you smash that like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more awesome videos like this one. And I'll see everybody in the next episode.